Hi there guys, and welcome to another Train Sim 2017 video. This is part 2 of a video that I recorded a few days ago, which is one of the Chris Horsfield scenarios. So continuing on from part 1, you will now call Lithgow, Falkirk, Gramston. I did work out how to say this. Can't remember anymore. Lenzie, Bishopbriggs, Glasgow, Queen Street. Earlier signal problems at Haymarket have now cleared and the services are almost back to normal. Proceed when you have the road. So, apologies from anybody from Kirkcaldy for getting it wrong before. We now have it right. So we've got a tiny little wait while we're here. So I'm just going to set up the train and then we'll get going. And it's Camelon, by the way. I even looked it up before I started, but it was one of those things, you know, when you look something up, or you get something in your head, and then you go and say it and you've forgotten it again. It was one of those moments. Also, it's got nothing to do with the change of drink. I have literally just opened my first beer today. This is about my third or fourth video I've recorded today. It's been a bit of a marathon. I've quite enjoyed it though. And so far today there's been no Train Sim World. I will be doing a little bit of that after this scenario, I think. So yeah, this is the third time I think I've tried to record this. Part 2 of this video. So the first time I recorded it, the recording went a bit wrong right at the end. Chris then decided to keep things fresh. He would rework the scenario a bit. So he's actually taken this away. He's added a few bits and pieces, maybe taken some other bits out. So it's not predictable for me at all. The third time I'd only got just past the Lithgow, so I haven't spoiled any of the surprises or anything. And that was due to a spad that I had to redo it. Usually I'd have just kept it, but me and Chris are pretty confident that I have everything installed correctly. I've really just jinxed this video, but it should be one of the first scenarios I've ever done that Chris has given me that I will not have any floating couplings with no textures, so there'll be no geofile issues, and no missing stock. I'm lucky my shed's made of wood because I'm touching it. So yeah, the reference of drink comes from my family taking the mick out of me for most of today because I have drunk birch water, which in Finland seems to be a pretty common drink. It's a sign that spring's coming. I think in several other countries as well. I gave that a go today, quite enjoyed it. I will be... You can also make birch wine, so I'll be giving that a go. And it's hard to describe. Partly like the smell of green sticks, you know, like when a tree you get a branch, and it's that sort of... It smells a bit like that. Tastes like a bit more of a viscous water. Yeah, it's alright. Quite enjoyed it. Refreshing. But I'm sure I've mentioned it before. I like to drink strange drinks that I've never had before, really. As long as they're meant to be drunk, you know what I mean? I'm not talking about anything grim here. But I'm quite well known for basically I'll try anything in liquid form. For me, really, the better the bottle, the more likely I am to drink it. There's this knockoff, I don't think it's a knockoff, I think probably in the country, I think it's from Poland actually. It's called Oshee, O-S-H-E-E, and it's like a bit of a isotonic drink. So it's a bit like Powerade and things like that. And about 10-15 years ago, just before I met my wife, I literally lived on Powerade, and I still kind of do when I go to the States. I can't drink too much of it nowadays, it gives me gut rot. But this one's fine. And it comes, if you get the canned version, this is going to sound really weird, it comes in a plastic can. So the top of it is like a normal can, and it's made of aluminium, and the rest of it is plastic. Really cool. But their normal bottle's quite nice as well. Kids use them for water bottles at school. So, other things I have to cover in this video. The correction from the last video. For some reason, Chris's textures were not showing up. So the updated destination blinds were not showing up. But now they are. I will show you those when we stop in Lithgow, which is 2.8 miles. And the other thing is because I said that this would be up on CHscenarios. It's not. And it may not be. It's up to Chris, and in his own words, I'll just get the message up to make sure I'm getting this right. He says, because CH is being a lazy something flap. You can fill in the blanks if you wish. This is a child-friendly channel. In fact, I'm very surprised I've managed to do, what am I at now, 50 odd videos and not slipped up and sworn in one of them yet. Maybe I have. Maybe I think one I have. Because I won't lie, I swear like a trooper normally. I kind of put my work head on when I do my videos. And that's what stops me swearing. That was going to be the case. DPWS just kicked in as well. I was hoping to get a decent run of this. I was too busy reading. I really should improve my driving on this game. I really, really should. That's what we want. So that should be able to clear into the Lithgow now. Just means we've got another service run ahead of us, which we will be following all the way to Haymarket, at my guess. Haymarket? We're not going to Haymarket, we're going to Queen Street. Otherwise we're going the other way. So I also asked Chris what these little red markers are, and they are where the 3-car stop mark is. I like that. Don't know why it's not used more often. I think I've done, is it maybe an Armstrong Powerhouse? I'm sure Richard will correct me on this scenario where I've seen that being used. Lithgow, Chris's local station. Which is why his Edinburgh to Glasgow scenarios tend to be pretty bang on. Now that 170 wasn't using one of his displays. So let's have a look at his new displays anyway. Destination displays, sorry. So they're nice, you've got them on the sides as well. I'm just going to go check that, I might have just seen that one. Because the rear cab looked like it was. No, it is using it, yeah. So there you go, there's Waverley, Queen Street. It's much more realistic. The sides as well. It's all there. I mean, Chris will have everything perfect, from the numbers to the destinations to everything. Right, Falkirk, 8 miles nearly. Might get up a bit of speed, depending on how many yellows are ahead of us, a bit of Chrisification. So that was actually, the reason that was very quiet there was it was me just checking with Chris. The last time I ran this, for some reason it went from a green aspect to a red aspect in front of me. So I think that's called a putback in railway jargon. And that happened. Now I wasn't sure if it was meant to, or if it was some sort of dispatch error. And Chris has come back with, yeah, the dispatcher can be a bit hungover at times. And that seems to be what it was. I mean, we've got green here. We'll just keep an eye out for it and just hope it doesn't happen again. We'll take it a little bit easy. Not just yet. I can't remember where it was. So it should be right over here. So the weather setting on this scenario is quite nice. This is actually one of the weather presets from the West Coast Mainline Trent Valley. It's called Dense Cloud, which I do really like. It's one of those things you never really think about. Well, I've never really thought about with train sim as such, was that you have the standard weather and then each route has, so you can do create your own presets for it, which I find really cool. What's that down there? Ah, Black 5. Another one, so you see it's also on the Barbie ones. We've got green and a 20. Nice. Oh, that'll be the Bonnish and Kinneil Railway. That'd be a yellow. That'd be a double yellow. Maybe I'll just miss this double yellow then. Because it was this next signal that I got a red at. don't know if I was just a bit ahead or a bit behind, or it was just the dispatcher playing silly beggars. Yep, you're single. Hope by the time we get to it, it'll be green, or at least it'll be yellow. Oh, did I come too fast? This TPWS keeps catching me out on this route. So we have a little stop at Polmont, which we're not meant to. And we'll reset what we're doing. I knew it was red. I had plenty of time to stop. Consider I've never known TPWS to work on this route. That buzzard thing didn't go off either. TPWS never to work on this route whatsoever. Like, no idea it was even not even forward. Had rumours it was implemented, but never saw it. It's in the last 2 videos. It's caught me out. I blame Chris. It's definitely not my rubbish driving. There we go. Oh, cool, going down here. It's not Falkirk High, I should have known that. And we did do this in the last one, I won't lie. But still, so this is only the second time I've ever gone this way on the route. I think Chris was saying you have to set a destination point marker or something. I don't understand scenario making to make it do this. It's a fair old gradient. Oh, nice 156. Barbie and Saltire. Yes, I know, but you're going to be 60 in this minute. Stop whinging. Like going over those TPWS grids with pure intrepidation now. What is that? Ah, awesome. Let's do a little bit of this, shall we, on that? These are the ZZAs. So this is probably one of my, up there with my number one underused asset on Train Simulator. Are the Just Trains ZZA snowplows. These came in the Bristol to Exeter route, and that came out years ago. These have been kicking around for donkeys, and they're brilliant. They're really, really cool. I'm going to have to call this the screenshot, I think. Now, do we go from that end? Yeah, let's go from that end. So what have we got? Got DRS 66 on it with... Oh, this is the Super Alps. 57. That has the down the coupling bits at the front, which is all there. But yeah, so the snowplows are really cool. Actually, ZZAs, you can drive them. I don't know if they do it all the time, but you can actually drive it from the leading cab of the second unit, which is cool. This will be a real-world setup. This will have happened, I'm sure of it, at some point at 57 or 66. It will have happened. Chris wouldn't have put it in without. But these, yeah. Lamp on front as well. Very nicely detailed. There's modern ones. There's ones going back to like the I think there's even 60s ones. There's a little window on the back of this. Look. There's a little room in these. These were built on top of tenders, if I remember correctly. Awesome. So these would be, this is set in late October, so these would be moved around the country, and I think what is probably depicting here is a driver training run. And you've got two drivers in the cab there as well. That was pure luck, that was. So yeah, very cool. Very, very cool. Like that a lot. They're dotted all over the place. So to those. There's usually a pair at March, which I did notice were there the other week when I went past. You get the other ones as well, which are there's the Bellhike Snowblower, and then there's the other like shorter, smaller ones, and I can't remember what they're called off the top of my head. Oh, coming in way too fast. I was too busy looking up snowplows for you. At least we made it. At least we made it. Oh, hello. Off for a night in the tiles in that little black dress, isn't she? So they are biohack bogey mounted snowplows. These are called patrol plows, which I just had to double check because I've always known them as patrol plows, but I wanted to make sure they were right. And if I remember right, these were built on class 40 bogies, 40 or 45s. Class 40, I think. And they're cool. There used to be a pair of them at Peterborough. I don't know if there still is. So the Patrol Pals at Peterborough and the ZZAs at March. They were class 40 bogies, there we go. And they can plough drifts up to 1.8 metres high. That's still pretty high. So they're actually overhauled at Brodie Rail and Kilmarnock in 2011. So the ZZAs were are independent drift ploughs. And the patrol ones are PB600s. So there we go, did you hear that? Our next stop is Camelon.
Do we have the correct pronunciation of your name?
It's actually only saying in a video not long ago that one of my pet hates is when people pronounce things wrong, and I was being a bit cocky and a bit self-assured, thinking I could have got some of them and hadn't. So I profusely apologise. It goes back to the Chris will never let me live down Strood instead of Stroud, which I even corrected in the video, Chris. But yeah, Camelon. Oh no, I didn't mean to do that. I don't mean to go to 100, no. It's emergency, darling. A light here for the Forth Valley Sensory Centre. Cool. Never been there. Let's not be around the bush, let's get moving. Yeah, sort of. Hang on. No, it's fine. Right, when we cross over here, I've actually just got to nip and sort something out. But I don't want to stop the recording, so what I'm going to do is set us up to cross over here. Now I've got to nip out of the chair for about 30 seconds. I will be able to see the screen, but I won't be able to reach the controls. So if I do get an AWS bell and it goes, I'm sorry. But I will be very, very quick. I wouldn't usually do this. 2 seconds, promise. Sorry about that, it's my poor old dog. He's, we think he has old age hip dysplasia. He's not a puppy by any stretch of the imagination, but yesterday he just stopped using his leg, his hind right leg. But it's also meant that when he comes out in the garden, if I leave the little gate open, he still tries to get on the stones and he can't. He shouldn't really laugh, and it isn't really funny because I love him to bits, but he can't really walk properly on the stones and he gets himself stuck. So what you didn't hear, what I hope you didn't hear, was the phone call to come and get the dog. But he'll be alright, it happens, he's a good age now anyway. I've been having like visions of me making him a little wheelchair and that, but I can't go down that route, it's not really fair. Anyway, that's not train chat. So this scenario, even playing it for the second time, it's still different. And seeing those ZZAs in there was awesome. What I'd really like to see though, and this wall to my left is sort of just reinforcing to me, is there's people updating things like there's a guy updating, Ben Wood I think is updating the, might have got that wrong, but West Coast Main Line North. Nathan Smith, as much as he's having issues, is it Nathan Smith? Yeah, Nathan Smith, as much as he's having issues with the East Coast Main Line South at the moment, that is happening. DPS have even done the East Coast Main Line South. This route is just something I might tackle myself. Well, with the assistance of Chris, of course, but it's something I might tackle myself. Just changing some of the like the fences out, some of the like signs, like limited clearance signs. There should be some here. All that jazz. A bit of rubbish around in the cess. Swapping out some of the the train. I am now on right. I'm going to call these transits Train Sim World transits. So I've noticed what they've done. This is sort of the basic one, and there's one with alloys, was in my video yesterday. So this probably dates back to, I remember from West Coast Main Line North, but it's probably a Kuju asset, would be my hunch. Probably from Oxford Paddington. If somebody could verify that for me, I'd be really, really pleased. It's crazy that you've got like that cement mixer and that excavator that are like, look like they're part of their own simulator, and then you've got like the transit. Just liven it up a little bit, I think. Bring it up to the more modern of routes. I mean, there are some limited clearance signs. It's not a bad route by any way, stretch or form, but any way, shape or form. And that was like any stretch of the imagination in any way, shape or form mixed together. I like that one. Just like these walls, it's a very repetitive pattern. Very, very repetitive pattern. If you look at it outside cabs, it kind of draws your eyes to it. So replacing some of them with something from a different pack would be quite nice, I think. And you've got, I mean, especially with this route, you've got the performance to play with. I mean, this is capped. Remember my frames are capped at 30, but with this off, I mean, I can sometimes do like 100 odd frames per second. Quite regularly runs at over that. I mean, it's my go-to route to test new things, really, because I know it's short and it loads in about 3 seconds and it runs really nicely. So we could up it a bit. And of course it's been electrified as well, so there's limit clearance bits here. Maybe just some of the ground textures and the way the foliage is. And this was Thomson Interactive, wasn't it? Now, when they sold over the 170, I don't know if they sold over the route as well. I'm not sure. Perfect. See, this is what chasing yellow should be like. I'm literally on the cusp between double yellow and green. Sitting at a steady speed. I don't know how this kind of works though, because what other train is doing 77 miles an hour in front of me? Surely it should be doing 100. It's line speed. It's now going slower. I know there is different stopping patterns. And freight, of course, obviously, but no freight should be doing sort of 70 odd mile, well 75 to be fair for a Freightliner. Knowing Chris, he slowed something down in front of me on purpose anyway. I saw that just switch over as well. That went double yellow, that went green double yellow, not double yellow green, did it not? Or was I just imagining that? Love this bit. You in real life, every time you came in this cut and you'd do this, wouldn't you? I would anyway. That would sound awesome. Still on the double yellows. That looks like a single. So, the 170s have been replaced with the 385s. And you know, out of a lot of the modern units that have come into reality in the last couple of years, the 385s are probably the ones that I don't mind the most. Let's try and speed up a little bit. Let's just switch to double yellow, that's fine. Keep our speed going. Nice scenery, but it's clouds. But the more you look at them, I've just become fixated on them, if I'm honest. But yeah, I'm starting just to look around this route and just think, here, I'd like to put a bit here and there. So this might be my first route that I start fiddling with. Yeah, 385s, I like the 385s. The AT200 series from Hitachi. Again, they're one of those trains that didn't really live up to their concept picture hype. The way the cab front swoops isn't as good as, it doesn't look as good as they did in the concept stuff. Also noticed one of the reasons why I always think that the concepts look better. I've spoken about this before. Go and have a look. The back of Rail magazine is a really good place for this, because Hitachi and loads of people, Bombardier at times, have used their back cover to sort of show off their latest train that they're bringing out. CAF, I'm sure, will start doing it. They use blacked out windows for the driver's windows. So for the windscreens, for the front windows, they black them out, and that's instantly going to make a train look cooler. But it's never going to happen in real life. Siemens have got a bad habit of doing that as well. They all have. Does bug me a bit. Did with cars as well when I was a kid. You'd see a concept car and then you get what you actually got at the end of it. It was like, oh. The only one that slightly lived up to that was not the newest shape Honda Civic. It was probably the one before. I was at the motor show down at the XL years and years and years ago when they had the concept variant of the new Civic there. And I was, yeah, it's lovely, but it would never look like that when it comes out. And it bloody well did. To be fair though, they haven't aged too well. They haven't aged too well at all. I mean, that shape must be a good 10 years old now. You'll all know what one I mean. Was after this Bishop Briggs and then Queen Street, I think. The London Car Show. I haven't been for years. The boat show I go down to. I try and go down every year for the boat show. The XL. I'd like to get a ticket. I don't know if you guys know about it. I think it's called InnoTrans. Was it InnoTrans? It's like the European rail manufacturers all get together and show off their latest things. It's like Rail Expo, really. I'd like to get to that at some point. I don't think that's every year, though. I think that's every couple of years or something. I mean, if you go back to the late 80s, there was the IVA in Hamburg. It was 88. I think there was one a bit earlier than that, or a bit later than that. Yeah, there was IVA 88 and 90, I think, or 91. And so there's several trains that have actually been abroad. 156, there still is, I think. I don't know if it's still got it. There's a 156 that used to have a Dutch NL, like bumper sticker above the second man's cab, and that was the one that ended up over in Holland for one of the exhibitions. 91, 89, 156 on one of the runs. I think it was a 150 on the other. Can't remember. Traintesting.com, a guy that runs that is an awesome geezer. He's got loads of experience and loads of really useful information train wise. Has it on his page. He was actually part of the team that went over on the Nord-Pas-de-Calais train ferry. Oh, what have I got there? 66. Lesco wagons on it. So this is the train that was getting jumped at one point, wasn't it? The Tesco's train. It was getting stopped. They were sabotaging the tracks and went red, and then steered and whipped vodka out of it, if I remember correctly, at one point. Right, we are stopping at Bishopbriggs. European Trip 1. Oh no, that wasn't it. I don't know what I'm braking for. I'm not a mile away. I'll just coast in while I try and read this and then try not to stop. Yeah, it's IVA 88 was the first one. And I'll tell you what went on that in a second. So it was 89, a 90, a 91, and a 150. And then the next one was 1989, and it was the NS 150 celebrations. Which, with the NS 150 celebrations and the... What else was that other one that dominated? There was another open day somewhere. I think it was Stockton Darlington Railway in the 80s, early 80s. Had the 150-year celebration or whatever it was. They dominated books when I was a kid. So yeah, that was a 156. The funny thing is about it, which I quite like the story that goes with it, it was supposed to be a 158 that went over. And it wasn't ready in time. I'll read you a bit of the blurb while we're stopped here. So it says, in the summer of 1989, in connection with the NS 150 celebration marking the 150th anniversary of Dutch Railways, BR was invited to send representative examples of their most modern train to exhibit at Utrecht for 2 weeks in the summer. Class 158 unit was originally chosen as these were rolling off the production line, but later this proved to be impossible to arrange, so a Metrocammer built Class 156, it was 156502 from Glasgow, was finally selected. This was unusual as it was in the Strathclyde passenger executives. It was the SPC. So, I don't know if it was SPE or SPT. Orange and black, which we all know is a livery close to my heart, as most are. So on the 16th of June 1989, the unit was driven under its own power from the Railway Technical Centre at Derby all the way to Holland and back. In those far-off days, the Channel Tunnel was just a dream, so the SNCF train ferry was utilised to cross from Dover, Western Docks to Dunkirk, where the unit was driven through France and Belgium to the Dutch border at Essen and on to Utrecht, with help from SNCF, SNCB and NS train crews. The unit was exhibited along with various items of rolling stock from across Europe for approximately 2 weeks, after which it returned to the UK. So if I remember rightly, this is where the mock-up of this Class 60? Yeah. The BR booth was actually quite nice. There's like a picture of it, it's worth a look. And it's actually got a 60 with BR double arrow logo on the front, just below the central pillar of the windscreen. Quite suits it. I was on the approach into Glasgow now. What we got? 156s, 170s, 158 somewhere. It's been nice to see a few 158s on this run. This run, I enjoyed it. 158 over there. As I said in the last video, I just wish there was one that was drivable. So I was descending into Queen Street now. So it is a really steep descent. If you let it go, it would be doing, I don't know, God knows. I wouldn't like to test how fast it'd be going by the bottom. And it always catches me out because you never know if your platform's free when you get down there, so there tends to be these signals will be yellows and reds. I can already see I've got a yellow there. To me it looks like a double yellow. I can't wait for the brakes to be fixed on this. So yeah, it is actually before we get into Queen Street itself that we've got a red so far. So that was probably something just a conflicting move. Yeah, that didn't give me an AWS warning. Oh no, it was coming that way, wasn't it? Duh. It's just 1 in 50. Just a 1 foot drop for every 50 travelled. Is that right? That's red. That'll be this 170 pulling out here. No, will it? Why are you causing me a conflict? Oh, I might need that. I might be going to that platform basically. See where the occlusion comes in on that now. Oh, I didn't even quite stop. 0.4 mile an hour. Brilliant. Got to be careful. There's a bit 15 in about half a second. No, that's a slight exaggeration. Maybe a massive exaggeration. It's another really enjoyable run. 2-part scenario. The joy of it being 2 parts is you don't have to do it all at once. So if you haven't got the time to do it all at once, you can just take a break and next day you get a bit of time to do it. Nice. Alright then guys, so that was thoroughly enjoyable, even though it was the 2nd or 3rd time I've done it. 2nd really, never gone that far. Oh, alright mate. He does not look a happy bunny. I wonder if this is actually a guy who works at... hey, stop turning around, I want to see the other side of you. I wonder if this is actually a guy that works at Quick Street. Some of you probably will know. What does this plaque say? Oh, I don't know. I'll have a read of that. Alright guys, thank you ever so much for watching. As soon as this goes up on CHscenarios, you'll find out. I'm sure you already follow him if you're here. So feel free to like, share and subscribe. Head on over to the Facebook page, give that a like, and CHscenarios. It's listed in the description below. I'll catch you guys soon.